Hello, I'm Grim Grindle and welcome to Vlogcast number 6, the podcast style show in which I talk about what we've done over the last week because I'm far too lazy to keep an actual physical diary. Since the last Vlogcast number 5, we've had a rather exciting week and met a fair few milestones. So unlike the last few weeks, I'm actually going to start off with the channel update and do the pop culture stuff a little bit later in the vlogcast, just because I really want to talk about what's been going on in the channel first. And on that note, the first thing that is worth mentioning is that we've met a milestone when it comes to viewer count, in that we've now passed 30,000 video views and are currently actually sitting on 31,000. The fact that our videos have been viewed 31,000 times absolutely blows our minds. And we're so very glad that the internet has given us the opportunity to share our creations with people. As early as 15 years ago, this would have simply been impossible to do unless you had a TV station or radio station or some other way to broadcast yourself. But here we are doing it ourselves, all thanks to YouTube. So we're rather excited about having hit the 30,000 video view mark, and I guess we'll have our next sip of champagne at the 50,000 video view mark. The second milestone that we're rather pleased about is that we've now also passed 200 subscribers. So if you are one of our new subscribers, welcome to the channel, and if you're one of our old ones, thanks for sticking around. I know that in the grand scheme of YouTube, 30,000 views and 200 subscribers is not exactly a huge amount, but for us, we're very excited about it and extremely proud of it. And of course, extremely thankful for all of you who have decided to contribute your viewership or have decided to actually be a subscriber. We make these videos not just because we enjoy creating, but also because we enjoy entertaining, and without you to entertain, we're just creating, so we would only really be achieving half of our goal. And another thing we're rather excited and proud about is our video that we put up on Halloween night, which was of course our radio horror show titled The Haunted Figure of Athens. It was actually written by Grin, see, I told you he was doing things behind the scenes, and of course was inspired by 1950s radio horror shows such as The Creaking Door and whatnot, which we're big fans of. Why we consider this video to be such a milestone, despite the fact that it's not really much of a video at all and is in fact an audio show, is because, aside from our very short Halloween video at the start of October, The Haunted Figure of Athens is our first really big step into completely original content. That's not to say that our other stuff is unoriginal, it's just to say that our other stuff, which is largely review-based or video game content, is reliant on other existing material outside of the ownership of Channel Grim and Grin. It is of course impossible to review a movie or game unless the movie or game you're reviewing actually exists, because otherwise there's nothing to review. So while all of our reviews are original, they're still reliant on other people's art forms existing to actually exist themselves. Whereas on the other hand, while The Haunted Figure of Athens is inspired by an existing genre, it is an entirely original story created for and by this channel. We fully intend to continue to make completely original content like this, but if you're here for the reviews or video game stuff, don't worry because it's by no means going away. We just intend to continue to diversify our product range. Because the more diverse it is, the more we can experiment and the more we can have fun with new stuff. So long story short, more good stuff for everyone. And the other thing that's rather exciting about The Haunted Figure of Athens is it's actually our first ever project where we've brought someone else outside of Channel Grim and Grin to work on the project under our direction. I am of course talking about the voice of Sir Darkwell Bled, who lended a fantastic and extremely professional reading to our radio show, which I think enhanced it to a degree we could not have achieved ourselves. So hopefully as our channel and budget continues to grow, we'll see more and more often other artists and creators brought in to help bring to life some of our more ambitious visions. So if you've not listened to our radio horror show, The Haunted Figure of Athens, and you think it might be up your alley, go check it out. And if you have seen it and do like it, and you can think of someone else that might enjoy it, share it with them, because the more views it gets, the easier it is for us to create more content that is similar. And now moving on to what videos we put up last week that weren't part of the Halloween special, we had Vlogcast number 5, which of course went up on Monday morning. Then we had My Dear Delilah 2, which I believe was called Terraria Jones, and is the second Terraria video we put up, and was, of course, put up on Wednesday as part of our extra videos. And then on Friday we had the 11th episode of the second season of Grin Reviews, which was his review of Pele's Soccer for the Atari 2600. If you've not seen it, you should definitely watch it, because it has footage of me beating him 10-0. This coming week, I can't make any guarantee of there being a Wednesday extra video. I will try my best, but as I said, there is no guarantee. And on Friday, there will be a Sci-Fi Minecart review. Well, that is to say that there most certainly should be a Sci-Fi Minecart review going up on Friday. I'm going to start working on it as soon as I finish working on this vlogcast. And now moving on to Pop Culture Corner, last week's vlogcast went up on Monday morning, which was Halloween morning, so even though we're past Halloween, I do have a couple of Halloween movies to mention because I watched them Halloween night, which of course came after Monday morning and so was not mentioned on the Halloween vlogcast. The first of the three I watched was Trilogy of Terror, which was itself in 3 stories. The third one was definitely the highlight of the 3, and was actually rather scary. The first one was pretty unsettling, and the second one was not really much to write home about. I do suggest you check it out for the last story if nothing else. Then the second horror movie we watched was Throwback, which is an Australian C-grade or possibly D-grade monster movie, and is quite possibly in the contention for worst film I've ever watched. I don't really suggest it unless you're actually looking for terrible movies. It does have the one redeeming quality of having Vernon Wells in it though, so if you are a Vernon Wells fan, maybe check it out because he was, as always, brilliant. And then the third and final horror movie we watched for the night, which was also a low-budget independent Australian horror film, was called Murderdrome. It is more than likely the only slasher film to ever exist revolving entirely around roller derby, and it was actually refreshingly enjoyable. The movie definitely wasn't without its flaws, especially in the audio department, but it has a lot of heart, and honestly it was good fun and had some pretty good gore, so I do suggest it. Oh, and it also has one of the most badass soundtracks for any film I've seen so far, so if you like good music, it's also worth checking out. And then finally, last week I did briefly talk about Doctor Strange, but people in the studio hadn't seen it, so I avoided spoilers. I am now going to mention spoilers, because now everyone in the Grim and Grin studio has actually gone and seen the film. So if you've not seen it, you should probably stop listening if you don't want it to be spoiled, and if you do stop listening, don't worry, you're not going to miss out on anything, because the rest of this video is entirely about Doctor Strange. So literally this is the spoiler warning. I'm going to give you a count of 3, and then I'm immediately going to start talking about the end of the movie, so you have been warned. 3, 2, 1. The ending was brilliant. While I completely love Marvel movies, I do find myself often able to predict what's going to happen. However, I did not see that solution coming to the issue presented by Dormammu, or whatever the bad guy's called. Dormammu. It's not a good name. However, while I did think that solution was brilliant within the confines of that movie as a standalone, it does make me worry a little bit for its implications for the entire MCU. You see, now that time travel exists within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it will always either be overused or underused unless they give us a really good reason for it not to be used at all. For example, if Captain America was to die, everyone would be wondering why Doctor Strange doesn't just use time travel and prevent Captain America from getting killed. And this goes for literally every single situation where something goes very wrong within the MCU in a film that Doctor Strange is part of from now on. But, on the other hand, every single time from this point on that Doctor Strange does use time travel to fix a problem, it's going to feel like a cheap, fix-all solution. It really is a bit of a damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of story element, and I'm not really sure why they decided to introduce it into the MCU. I mean, admittedly, I'm not very well versed in the Marvel comic universe, but it just seems like a strange fit for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And yes, I am very well aware that using time travel to fix a problem runs the risk of destroying the fabric of time and the world and all that whatnot, but the issue is, we've already seen within Doctor Strange that if the planet's going to be destroyed and all of humanity is going to die, then Doctor Strange is actually willing to take the risk. The only issue with this is that the Avengers pretty much solely deal with end-of-the-world situations, so if the Avengers ever fail and it looks like the Earth is going to be destroyed, then we know that it's the sort of situation that Doctor Strange would be willing to risk the space-time continuum and just turn back the clock. And of course, if this becomes the case, it'll never feel that tense when it looks like the Avengers are going to fail, because in the back of your head, you'll be thinking, well, if they do fail, we'll just get Doctor Strange to turn time back like in Superman. Although, all of that said, Marvel has proven itself time and time again at being brilliant at managing its cinematic universe and writing good storylines, so I'm sure they have an answer, I just can't imagine at this point what it's going to be. And the other thing that I'm interested to see what's going on about is the mid-credit scene where you've got Doctor Strange talking to Thor. In this scene, it is mentioned that both Loki and Thor are on Earth looking for Odin who's gone missing. I thought that this was a little bit strange, because if you've watched the end of Thor 2, you saw that Odin was missing, but Loki was in fact impersonating him. And I've not even gone back and watched Thor 2 because it wasn't actually very good of a movie, but if I remember correctly, by the end of that, Thor was under the impression that Loki was in fact dead, and had absolutely no idea that he had survived. So I am interested to know what's happened between Thor 2 and Doctor Strange. I mean, there's been a long gap of time between the two, but obviously something rather important has happened that we've not actually seen on camera, where now Thor knows that Loki's alive and that Odin is missing. I can't really imagine how that could be part of Loki's plan, because it would be sort of strange to impersonate Odin for a while and then stop impersonating Odin just to pretend that Odin's gone missing and go help look for him. But on the other hand, if Thor realized that Loki was impersonating Odin, it seems sort of strange that he would then choose to bring Loki, who is constantly deceiving him and seemingly responsible for Odin's disappearance, with him to Earth to actually look for Odin, because he's just going to continue to stab you in the back. But I guess that's sort of within Thor's character, because he does seem to never learn when it comes to his brother. So while I'm sure there probably is a reason, and it's not just Marvel has forgotten what they're doing, I really hope it is actually addressed at the start of the next Thor movie, rather than being glossed over. And that's really the two main points that I wanted to talk about regarding Doctor Strange, but couldn't last week because of their spoiler nature. It might have sounded a little bit critical, but as I said in the last video, I thoroughly enjoyed the movie and it's up there as one of my favourite MCU films. If you yourself have seen the movie, I'd love to hear your opinion on it in the comments section. So with all of that said and done, we're about ready to wrap up. So as always, welcome to all of our new subscribers, and we hope we can entertain you. And of course to the old ones, thanks for sticking around. Until next time, I have been and still am Grim Grindle, and you have been listening to Vlogcast number 6.